Hello there everybody, welcome back, and this is the newest video in SBID, or Sawyer Breaks It Down, number 17, and this is a series where I like to talk about stuff that I find interesting that happens in the movie industry, entertainment industry, video game industry, or something similar to that aspect. And this one, I know it's been a while, but this one I have a good amount to say about it. So basically, as you see with the thumbnail, how Scarlett Johansson, because she's of course the Black Widow star, her new movie came out and it's been doing fine, but it could have been doing a lot better. Well, she's apparently suing Disney for breaching their contract and putting it on Disney Plus, which means she's gonna be losing a ton of bonuses and revenue. And I find that really interesting because just now, which I get you couldn't really mention it or do anything like that when you're promoting the film, obviously, because that wouldn't look good on you. But still, it is still in theaters and all, so doing this obviously would be a bad headline. I'm just surprised, like, the people that, had to make it go public. Like, this could be a behind the scenes type of thing. It shouldn't be in the view. But of course, everyone's like, yeah, go Scarlett. Like, they have sides they're picking. They're picking either the screw Disney side or why is she complaining? Because she's like hundreds of millions of dollars and this and that. And so it's quite a fine line to discuss, but it's just a really interesting thing because this is no doubt drama. This is some big drama, and just how Disney responded to it is also really like savage. And they're like, yeah, well, we had to do this because COVID and we need to, even though there's like Paramount didn't do that with A Quiet Place. They let it play for a month before putting it on streaming. Universal, even, like one of the big names who were like, we need to do streaming. Even they're doing a month or so before streaming with like Fast and Furious and all that. And all these movies are doing pretty solid money-wise. So it is making it work. So the excuse that we have to charge $30 on our streaming service that people already paid for is kind of BS. And I can understand her frustration because people make the argument being like, oh, well, she has so much money. Why is she complaining? Boo-hoo. And I'm thinking, well, depending on money or not, it just depends on who your character is. Are you allowing yourself to be pushed around and allowing the people that you made a contract with to break the contract or do stuff that wasn't agreed upon from both parties? Because we just need to think about, she probably has, like, all that money doesn't really go to her. She probably has her agent she has to pay. She probably has to, like, it isn't all for her. There's like other stuff that we probably don't even know about as the audience that she has to do, because Hollywood obviously is a really tricky and complex place. There's probably a lot of other stuff that she uses the money for. Hopefully good stuff, but so just to say, oh, well, she's rich and all, she should be complaining. It's about, like, if she lets herself get pushed over by this company and they're able to breach her contract, what's to say other companies in the future would try to screw her over? Or maybe down the line, someone in her family are like, oh, well, they'll use that as an example, saying like, oh, they're pushovers. We could just, screw them over any time we want and just break out a contract and stuff. That's just kind of messed up, to say the least. So I can understand why she's frustrated, because they made a deal, they agreed upon it, and they're like, screw it, we're just gonna put it on Disney Plus. We're gonna lose money from this anyways, so we're gonna charge $30 and this and that. And I'm thinking, and also a thing that it said in the article is that the movie also lost a ton of money because it was reported that it was the #1 most pirated film of of pirated since this COVID era, which it's pretty funny, but I mean, we all knew that would happen if they put it on streaming. Like, it's just obvious. So they took a gamble to put it on streaming, even though this model has not worked. With Mulan, I heard it bombed and the movie was garbage. And all these other movies that they did, like with Raya, like, no one wants to pay $30 to see a movie on streaming that they already paid monthly for. Like, if you're gonna do that nonsense, at least do with Warner Brothers, like what they're doing. Like Suicide Squad, Conjuring, Mortal Kombat, Godzilla vs. Kong, all these movies, they have it on their service for a month and then it goes away. So, and it's free of charge. You don't have to pay extra for something you already pay for. And people saying, well, they need to make their money somehow. I'm like, yeah, just keep it in theaters, because it's obvious with Fast and Furious, Paramount doing with A Quiet Place 2, and all these other movies, they're able to make money. The business is still doing pretty solid at the theaters. Like when I was at AMC, there was lots of people showing up. People were dressing up in costumes. People were buying the tins and being a part of the moment. Like everyone was hyping up being at the theaters again and being able to experience it in an audience with a group of people. So to make this argument that there's no one going to the movies and stuff, and you have to charge like $30 on a streaming service to sit at home and watch it, that's just garbage. That makes no sense. It's just, I think it's, apologies here, I love Disney, I really do, but I think it's them being greedy and wanting to try and make more money out of a bad situation, which is kind of scummy. And to try to say what Scarlett's doing is like, it's distressful, it's horrible, we're in a pandemic. And I'm like, well, the pandemic's pretty much done at this point. Vaccinations are everywhere for people to get. You can choose to wear a mask or not in the theater. Like, we're pretty much done with this thing. It's been over 1.5 years since it started, but people are just dragging it on in some cases. I understand that cases are rising and all, but like I said, you can take the vaccine if you want. It's highly recommended that you do. You wear a mask, and stuff like that. So to make the argument like this is a brand new thing and it's bad for her to be trying to make the argument that they're screwing her over, and to make the argument that she shouldn't be complaining about them lying and stuff, it's like, I'm sorry, like I know she's rich and she has millions of dollars and all, and it probably sounds silly, but I understand where she's coming from. But then again, with the studio side, because I want it to be all bashing Disney, I understand where they're coming from because they are a business. Everyone like them is losing money during this crisis. So it is like a tricky situation, but I can honestly see both sides, but preferably I understand more with Scarlett, and I really hope she doesn't lose, gigs and stuff from this, because what they're doing is it's very messed up. That's most of what I have to say. I was really fascinated with this because this was like some big drama, and these people worked, like this company and actress, they worked together for over a decade, and how they're talking about her, saying that's horrible and evil and stuff, and I'm like, that's crazy. You guys worked together for how long? And you're saying all this stuff like you just saw the person on the street and you're like, that's messed up. It's just crazy how this business works. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the whole situation. If you guys, I'm pretty sure you've heard of it, but if not, what did you think of this? And if you want to look more into it, I highly recommend it because it is very fascinating, and I'm definitely curious to see how this all turns out. Again, thank you all for watching, and if you want to hit the subscribe button and the bell as well to get notified when I upload, that would really mean a lot to me, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks again.